Yeah, it's okay. Let it be like this. No problem. Simran, you can now make it live. And Dr. Apnapalli, thanks for once again. Thanks for being there. And we're just making it live now. Sonali, you take it over from there then.
Yes, sir. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and happy Bringley. Today is week 1 of Making the Virtual World Alive. This is a digital transformation series, a 10-week digital transformation series in the education sector. Today, amongst us, we have a very special guest, Dr. Hari Epnapalli. Before we hand it over to Dr. Hari, I would like to say some words about him and introduce him to our community. Dr. Hari Epnapalli is a financial service professional, an entrepreneur, and a philanthropist with a passion for healthcare, education, and environment. His mission has been to transform youth into responsible citizens to establish a peaceful society for harmonious living. With over 30 years of diverse experience, Dr. Epnapalli has been involved in managing high-visible global initiatives in the financial and social services sector. He is an passionate about giving back to the society. Thank you so much, Dr. Hari, for being with us today.
Sure.
Today's topic is the future of digital economics, employment, and investment opportunities. I would please request Dr. Hari to say a few words about himself.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you, Sonali, for a graceful introduction. Appreciate it. And good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to different time zones. And I would like to congratulate Bengal Academy on this series of digital project that is the need of the hour for the COVID-related impact that is taken place throughout the world. I think I would like to definitely congratulate Bengal Academy for taking the bold step to offer this service to the world. So myself, I've been in the financial services world for the last 30 plus years. I'm in the US for the last 35 years. I'm currently serving as the chairman of the CIC group, and I went to MIT Sloan, and I'm acting as an advisor to the Alternate Development Organization based in Oslo, Norway. I'm a member of Board of Governors from JNT University, Hyderabad, and advisory board member for the Rutgers University in USA. Also serving as advisory board member of Al Khalifa Business School in UK. So this is a brief introduction about me. And today I'm going to talk about the future of digital economics, employment and investment opportunities. As we all know that the world is moving towards the fourth industrial revolution, but the COVID gave us a different perspective of how the world should be and what kind of precautions we need to take, and how do we take care of our health, education, employment, and also preserve and protect this planet for future generations from the environment point of view. I think academies like Bringle can make a difference by offering digital curriculum to the people who are interested, since they cannot be attending conventional classes anymore moving forward because of the COVID impact. And if not COVID, maybe something else coming in the future. So this is the right opportunity for virtual education, and Bringle is positioned themselves in the right place. And I would like to thank Dr. Maram, who is instrumental in connecting me to Bringle Academy. I know him for a long time, and is very passionate about the digital education. And he started the Universal Digital University. He's based in Bangalore. Thank you, Dr. Maram, for inviting me to this session today. So back to you, Sonal.
Thank you so much, Dr. Atnapalli. That was a wonderful introduction, and we are really honored to have you on board over here. Sir, for today's presentation, you may please take over.
Sure, I will take it from here. I will share my screen. So we already talked about my topic, the future of digital economics, employment and investment opportunity. But I would like to cover a little bit about what is happening because of the COVID, the global impact. So as of today, I just captured some data from the internet. The global coronavirus affected about close to 6 million people, and 6% of them are succumbed to corona, about 366,000 people, and about 2.6 million people recovered from it. And if you look at the countrywide statistics, the USA is the largest number of casualties succumbed to corona. About 1.8 million people are affected, and about 104,000 people are dead. And if you take the numbers for India, it's about 173,000, and about close to 5,000 people are affected because of the corona. And more than this, the real life impact for people is beyond imagination, and it is going to be for some more time to go with. I'll just share some of the impacts that are happening now, and it will happen moving forward also. So global economic imbalances, for example, we're going to have about $82 trillion of economic impact over the next 5 years. And it will hit developing world cities the hardest. And out of every five jobs, 2 people are going to be unemployed, and reduced liquidity in the marketplace, and soaring borrowing costs. On the technology front, regulatory barriers will fall. For example, now the governments are considering offering virtual education differing from the conventional education, and as you are already in the front line through offering the digital classes. And healthier digital lifestyle, a boon to virtual reality and augmented reality, another opportunity for innovation, especially in the technology sector. Rise in telemedicine. For example, my wife is a physician, and she's taking care of her patients from home through telemedicine. And rise in virtual education, it's already obvious now. And governments become big pharma. For example, to address the COVID-related issues, the governments have procured a lot of medications already. For example, hydroxychloroquine, India is #1 in supplying to the world. That is another example of it. And science reigns again. That means a lot of research is required, and more research will be coming as the time moves this era. And coming into governments, Congress, for example, the parliaments finally need to go virtual. So they may not be able to meet in physical conditions because of the COVID impact. And big governments come back. A new civic federalism will prevail. Expect a political uprising. For example, in India, we have a lot of these migrant laborers commuting hundreds of kilometers because their employers abandoned them and the governments did not take care of them. They've been walking. I was reading a very sad story about 100 kilometers walk by a pregnant woman. People are delivering in trains and things like that. So that will open up opportunity for frustration and political uprising from these underprivileged people, and they're badly affected during this COVID time. The rules we have lived by may not apply, and revive trust in institutions. Electronic voting goes mainstream, and voting by mail is going to be the reality. And from the business point of view, restraints on mass consumption, stronger domestic supply chains, inequality gap will widen. E-commerce, online shopping is going to be the future. From a lifestyle point of view, remote working is reality, and virtual education is a reality. Less communal dining and parties, and less number of people attending events and meetings. Impact on active life and health. This is going to be one of the problems because people are going to have a very immobile lifestyles, and they will face a lot of health related issues, and they need to reinvent themselves. How do we exercise, and how do we keep up ourselves? And religious worship will look differently, because visiting temples and churches and synagogues will be different because of the COVID era. So with this, I would like to say that there's a lot of opportunity in the field of healthcare, education, and employment. And as some of you might probably heard of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the former president of India, who created this Vision 2020 several years ago for India. And that is the reality now we can see as it is happening. He was a visionary, and I'm very proud to state that I worked with him on his Lead India movement to transform youth into responsible citizens. So I wish his second term materialized to implement some of these things I'm talking today after 20 plus years. So not because of the COVID, but the fourth industrial revolution opened up opportunities in the digital world. And I would like to share some of these things to the audience here today. The artificial intelligence is the number one focus. The big data, analytics, and making decisions through machine learning, deep learning, and predictive analytics, that is the number one in the future of the digital economics. As you all know, blockchain technology is also coming a big way in the digital currency and cryptocurrency, and in the government, education, healthcare related sectors, as well as in the finance sector. And the genetic testing is another area that is very important in this world for preventive care. 5G technology is already a reality. It's going to really change the way we're going to communicate through mobile devices and through networks. Augmented and virtual reality, and the Bringle Academy is an example of offering the virtual classes, virtual curriculum. Cyber security, because of all this online education and online access to technology, there's a lot of breaches happening. Probably you must have read already Zoom was breached. People are interrupting and taking the privacy into their control. So cyber security is another area that there's a lot of opportunities. Autonomous vehicles and smart cities. These are some of the areas that personally identified how the future is going to look like and where the opportunities are for employment as well as investment. And I'm going to slowly deep dive into some of these areas in a brief way. So the top 10 applications for the artificial intelligence are robot-assisted surgery, virtual nursing assistants, administrative workflow assistants, fraud detection, dosage error detection, connected machines, clinical trial participant identifier, preliminary diagnosis, automated image diagnosis, and cyber security. So if you look at these numbers, mind-boggling, the kind of opportunities. And if Bringle can translate some of these things into virtual curriculum, you will be very, very happy to see the participation of people who are interested in the AI space. And what is artificial intelligence? It is the machine learning, expert systems, speech recognition and vision, planning and robotics, natural language processing. These are some of the areas where the artificial intelligence is making a big move. And people are really, really looking into this as a game changer. It's going to make a lot of decisions, and human intervention is going to be less and accuracy is going to be more. So I think it's important to focus in this area for future, for employment purpose, as well as on the investment front. People should consider seriously. Right. So these are some of the technologies that are in the marketplace: TensorFlow, Microsoft's Cognitive Toolkit, PyTorch, Destiny, Scikit-learn, Keras, Deep Learning, 4J. It's important for the people who are on the show, who are students still, or employed in a different area. They can start looking into this area to see whether it's of an interest to you, so that you can look into changing your career into AI space. These are the leading technologies that are in the marketplace for AI. And this is another slide that shows where the money is and how the timeline is from 2016 to 2025. I think we're going to have about over $40 billion worth of marketplace for AI industry. Use cases in every industry that you can think of applying AI, and technology advancements, including in deep learning, allow ML and AI to be applied to more business problems. And many of those technologies advancement embodied in open source software. That means you don't really need to pay licensing fees and all. You can download and start using them. So very attractive thing as well. So artificial intelligence in the banking and financial services is also playing a big role, and chatbots and virtual personal assistants, personalized communications and decisions tailored to the customer, streamlining processes, low value processes to be handled by AI and RPA. You're already seeing this when you open your cell phone, and a lot of calls you may be receiving already from different banks and things like that to promote their products and services. Based on your the consumer data that they have, and the AI platforms they have making decisions, contact you as per your personal profile, whether you are interested in buying a car or a house. They will offer different financial products. Biometrics, workflow, and compliance automation is another area that the banking industry is in. And personally, I've worked in the financial services sector for the last 30 years, and I personally implemented some of these services when I was with bank. So the next major area that is really going to make a difference is blockchain. So in 90s, we had this internet, and it really changed and transformed the way we communicate, and the world has become very flat now. Today, I'm sitting in New Jersey, and we have viewers from all over the world, and we are able to connect. So that's how internet made a difference. And blockchain is going to do the same kind of transformation from banking to government to our identities as well. So blockchain will do the financial systems what the internet did to the media. What blockchain is going to do for us is going to increase the simplicity, reduce fraud, increase the speed of transactions, and free up capital. Stronger relationship, because the trusted handshake is going to happen digitally, all the verification is going to happen. And what are the sectors that it can make a difference in the smart contracts, digital currency, securities, record keeping, and so many applications that already in real life we can see. Bitcoin is an example of how the blockchain technology is used and how it revolutionized on the cryptocurrency and the digital currency. So this is a slide on blockchain basics. When a request is initiated, that will go through a peer-to-peer network consisting of computers known as nodes, and the validation takes place of the transaction, user status using known algorithms, and the verified transaction can involve contracts, records, or other information that goes through another route. Once it's verified, transaction is combined with other transactions to create a new block of data for the ledger. And the new block of data is then added to the existing blockchain, and the transaction is marked as complete. This is a simple flow. I'm trying to simplify as much as possible so that the people can understand what it is. So this is how the blockchain functions. And what are the different types of blockchains that are in the marketplace? So you have a public blockchain, you have a private blockchain, and you have a federated blockchain. So if you compare that with how the internet is working, so the public is an equivalent of internet, and the federated is an equivalent of intranet, and the private is within the company itself. It's internal to a company. So you can subscribe or you can implement any of these three different types of blockchain, depending on the need and what you want to do with the public or with a group of companies or internal to one company. So what are the different blockchain platforms? You have Hyperledger from IBM, and you have the Ethereum R3 consortium of close to 200 companies. You have a Ripple multi-chain. Depending on the function and usage and the cost of implementation, some of these platforms you can consider to use. Especially in the financial services sector, blockchain is already in place. So you have retail banks, you have securities, trade finance, insurance, investment banking. Some of the key use cases you can look into is cross-border payments, securities trading and settlement, securities issuance and servicing, trade finance, digital identity verification, syndicated lending. I'm just showing a few of the top examples here, but the enormous amount of use cases that are coming up in the financial services world. You can think of healthcare, governments, education, so many wide variety of use cases in every field that has a transaction between parties to take place in a trusted, simple, fast way. Continuing on the financial services world, all the top banks are already implementing their blockchain solutions. Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, Citibank, and Bank of Macmillan. I worked until December last year. So initially, there was a lot of skepticism about the blockchain and Bitcoin. One of the examples I'm showing here is JP Morgan Chase CEO. He was quoting Bitcoin is a fraud in 2017. 2018, he said, I regret saying that in 2019, welcome JP Coin, they already came up with their own cryptocurrency. So people are accepting, and the reason this currency thing is still not coming along the way it is supposed to, because the central banks have a conventional currency and they are threatened with the cryptocurrency. But eventually, based on my involvement in this project as well as my knowledge of the marketplaces, the governments have to yield, central banks will lose the control, and eventually democracy will prevail in the currency market. Cryptocurrency will be the future. I'm not encouraging anybody to invest into Bitcoin or anything, but it will be the way the people are going to access the markets and make their purchases using cryptocurrency. It's a lot more secure and a lot more usable through the digital world. So the next item that I would like to share with the viewers is the genetic testing on the healthcare point of view. So I'll take one use case, especially in India, there is a disease called sickle cell anemia. The people who have this condition, the red blood cells harden and the flow of blood is prevented and they die at a very early age. 40 million tribal people in India are impacted with this. Just quoting one example. So this is a single gene defect that is passed from generation to generation. But because of the DNA editing, that particular gene can be eliminated through gene editing and then can inject back into the people, and over a period of time, they will reconstruct without this bad gene, and that can be eliminated from the society. But there is about 240 single genes are identified already that can be edited to remove from the planet. This is one of my dream project when I was working with Dr. Kalam. He wanted to provide affordable quality healthcare to the population, and preventive care is the way to go. Genetic testing is going to provide that kind of ability to identify the population's possible diseases, and you can diagnose your disease, pinpoint genetic factors that caused your disease, predict how severe your disease might be, choose the best medicine and correct dosage, discover genetic factors that increase your disease risk, find genetic factors that could be passed to your children, and screen newborns for certain treatable conditions. It's a very amazing technology. It is still a little more expensive than normal we expect to happen, but over a period of time, as the technology becomes accessible and costs going down, I think genetic testing will prevail in the marketplace. I was talking to Dr. Harshavardhan in November when I met him in Delhi. The Indian government already tested over 5,000 people, captured their data to do this genetic banking, proactive and preventive, predictive diagnosis of diseases, stem cell therapy, regenerative medicine, safer procedures, less manual labor, individualized precision medicine. This is another area of the pharma industry going to have a revolution. Customizing the medications individual. An example is when somebody has a cancer, typically they go through a chemotherapy. And some people react to that chemotherapy, they lose hair. Some people develop some rashes, and some people want. If a precision medicine based on their genetic condition can be developed, so you will not be doing a trial and error, providing a precise medication that works to that particular person's genetic condition. So these are some of the things are already coming along in a big way, and people will be receiving the customized medications very soon. Fully customizable body parts with 3D printing also. Once we identify what is the genetic profile is, we don't need to do any more matching. And the organ transplantations can happen with the less number of rejections. And high precision, cheaper and faster cure. For example, we have about 1.3 billion people in India. And most of the time we are reacting after the fact when somebody becomes sick. We spend a lot of money running around to the hospitals. What if a person once is born, once we provide a genetic group of that person, so we can plan ahead of the population health. How do we prevent? What is the population has? For example, in India, you have diabetes, heart conditions, and factors. The governments can plan ahead and budget accordingly, investing into research and innovation to focus on addressing the high number of patients front, so that the healthcare costs can significantly go down, and the population will be a lot more healthy if you take care of them ahead of the time before they even fall sick. The genetic testing is one of the key elements in this area, and I'm looking forward to having the testing cheaper. Right now, it costs close to about $100 to $200 in screening one person. And I personally invested in this space, and I'm very happy that this technology is really. Next major revolution is the 5G. Broadband Future is going to revolutionize the way we're going to communicate. I'll share some of the things in this slide as well as the next slide. So it's going to open up a big revolution in terms of the speed, cost, bandwidth, various things. The latency is going to be 10 times less, and 10 times connectivity density, 3 times spectrum efficiency, 100 times traffic capacity, experienced throughput, and 100 times network efficiency. So imagine this, and today we are in 3G and 4G world, and 5G is already coming into the market. US and Japan, especially a very advanced stage. China is already implemented. Now India is looking at it very seriously. Reliance is ready to roll this solution into the marketplace. It requires totally new cell towers, and also there's a lot of investment required here, but it is a replacement of the older technology. It is not an upgrade of the current 3G or 4G. So that's where the more investment is needed, but you will benefit from these investments. The latency will be as low as 1 millisecond, and it enables more efficient signaling for IoT connectivity. More bits per hertz will be achieved with advanced antenna techniques. enable network hyper-densification with more small cells everywhere. Multi-Gbps peak rates will be achieved with uniformity. Network energy consumption will be optimized for more efficient processing. And the switch to 5G will mean longer battery life for devices, lower costs, enhanced cellular footprints, higher throughput, enhanced capacity, low latency, and virtual no packet drops. This is the advanced technology that we're going to experience. An example, if there's a surgery happening in India and you would like to have a real-time consultation from a Stanford University doctor of the surgery, and through 5G technology, that's quite possible. So it's important that this technology is rolled out very soon to benefit in the healthcare as well as in the education field. It's going to revolutionize all those things. This augmented and virtual reality is another important segment that is coming up. The virtual reality side immerses users in an imagined or replicated world. Mixed reality is virtual objects integrated into and responsive to the real world. Augmented reality is overlays digital imagery into the real world. So take, for example, now you have Google Maps and people are walking on the street. It says make a left or right, but does not give you how to identify what is there. So if you augmented reality, you can really bring that picture of real life in front of you, and the building is sitting in front of you. And you can see where you are and what is on the left side and what is on the right side. This is an amazing technology that is coming along, and many uses. The virtual reality side, take for example, a surgeon is doing a brain surgery. There's a blood clot in the brain. There's no trial and error that people can take a chance on the brain. So using virtual reality, the brain's image can be taken and the doctor can do a virtual trial before going and doing the real surgery on person's brain. And the pilots getting trained on a simulators and real aircrafts and virtual reality can feel really that you are in a plane and piloting it. These are some of the areas that AR and VR can make a difference. And the marketplace for this is projected to be a lot more, about close to $16 to $20 billion. Public sector and healthcare, engineering, real estate, retail, military, education, and the consumer side, video games, live events, video entertainment. 3D videos are already a reality now. People are using already in the weddings. So this market is close to $35 to $40 billion. So people who are interested, who enjoy this kind of stuff, they can start training, and Bringle Academy can start offering some of these courses. So this is an area really, really evolving in a rapid way. Like it makes a real sense using the AR VR technology. And an example, you want to buy a house, and the real estate agent can provide you the real life experience as if you are touring through that particular home and get a feel for what you're going to buy. And that's one other quick example that I can think of. The autonomous vehicles and hyperlooping, and also electronic vehicles, battery operated vehicles. This is another area that is very fast. An example, Government of India already mandated by 2030 all the conventional internal combustion vehicles to be replaced with EV vehicles to reduce the pollution and protect the environment. And on top of it, Indian roads may not be congenial for autonomous vehicles, driverless cars and all, but other advanced countries already, for example, Google Campus has driverless cars already taking people from one area to another area, and Uber is looking into having driverless cars wherever it is convenient. Then, another important area that is evolving is the hyperloops. vacuum tube will take people from place location A to location B. This will make a revolution because when we go into the airports, you need to drive for an hour to reach. Most of them are outside of the city, and about an hour of checking in and security, and wait for another half an hour to board the plane. Approximately, you spend a minimum of 3 hours before the flight takes off. And once you land, you collect your bags and then go to your destination another hour. About total 3 to 5 hours time spent in addition to the flight time. So if you have Hyperloops, that will cut down significantly. You will be reaching the destination almost on the same speed as the flights. This is another area. I think Bombay to Pune or Bombay to Ahmedabad or something like that. If I don't remember correctly, the government of India is already exploring the possibility of having a hyperloop. This is one of my favorite smart city solutions. India has got about 99 smart cities announced during the previous government of Modi. Um, Bombay was the 100th one, but they opted out. They didn't want to be controlled by the central government. Otherwise, it would have been 100 smart cities. In India, based on the current population and the situation, because of the older, very old country, giving a new smart cities not feasible, but retrofitting existing smart cities is happening already. And some of the areas that they are focusing on in the public information, grievance redressal, electronic service delivery, citizen engagement, citizens, cities, eyes and ears, video, crime monitoring, and the waste management, water management, energy management, urban mobility, telemedicine, tele-education, incubation, trade facilitation centers, and skill development centers. These are the 21 different areas the government of India is focusing on. It is projected about $1.2 trillion market exclusive just for India. And imagine the rest of the world as they convert the existing cities into smart technology, and building new green smart cities is already happening in the Middle East especially. So this is another area people can start looking into, invest into smart cities technologies and reskill themselves to explore the employment opportunities in the smart city areas. So these are some of the things I wanted to share with the viewers today. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Single Academy is doing an amazing job of launching this course, and I'm very proud to be another session of speaking. Thanks to you. I will be happy to take questions from the viewers today. Sonal, back to you.
Yes, thank you so much. That was a beautiful presentation. You practically gave us not only the future of digital economics, but basically the future of the virtual world and the world we are headed towards. I would love to take some questions from the participants, as Dr. Hari has shown us so many variety of instances through which the world will change. Before I take some questions from the participant, I have a question of my own. Sir, I'll ask you that, since the world is moving drastically and in a super fast speed towards the virtual reality and the virtual world, what do you think should be the mindset change? How should we adapt ourselves? Because it is a very big change. And even during the lockdown, during this period, mental health and, things like that have taken a toll on people. Even people who are not diagnosed with coronavirus, for them, the lockdown has affected in a different manner. So how should we deal with the next upcoming changes?
So the world, even before COVID, already realized the importance and significance of virtual connectivity that we have because of the internet access to almost partner developed as well as the developing countries. That already gave, and especially in developing countries, they did really leapfrog from a technology point of view, especially in India, about 1.3 billion people, and we have close to 700 or 800 million people using some or the other kind of mobile device, and they are connecting, especially WhatsApp and Telegram, few other technologies that already revolutionized. When a vendor who is selling vegetables has a mobile phone, not smartphone, a type of and they are connected to the world. So moving forward, COVID really opened our eyes, and social distancing is the mantra, and we need to learn to live with COVID. If not COVID, some other virus will come into play. So the positive side of COVID is if you look at the environment point of view, take a look at Delhi, it's much cleaner. River Yamuna is much clear water flowing with me. And you can, even in Bangalore, since you're in Bangalore, it must be a lot more cleaner air that you are breathing today. That is the positive side of it. And the negative side is basically you are not able to meet people in person, but you are able to connect a lot more today because of the blessing of the COVID through virtual networking. A lot more people you must have reached over the last 3 months than in the field of education, the telemedicine is going to revolutionize. Um, there's two reasons. It's going to provide access to the masses, and it is cheaper. And then the next one is the virtual education. These two areas, if you can keep people healthy and educated through technology, will revolutionize. And you can be on the global platform. You don't need to be just limiting yourself to India. You can offer these courses globally. We can truly make a difference. Looking forward to the future in this virtual world because of COVID as an eye opener, a lot more opportunities opened up. Even the governments, for example, India identified about 112 universities to offer online classes. You probably must have read it, and every university is looking into doing a paradigm shift in this area to offer courses, and also people will have a reduced tuition fees because of these virtual classes. More people can be in the class. More creative courses can be offered. I think that's going to be the
Perfect, perfect. I think, sir, you have perfectly highlighted. Anshuv, sir, probably has a question, please, sir.
Yeah, Sonali. So thanks. First of all, I want to thank you, Sonali. I mean, the beautiful question you have asked, because apart from technology, the one important aspect is humans. And with this entire thing, the one thing which has got really impacted is our mindset. We are actually feeling like sitting in a cage for last 2 months now, to probably more than that, and there are many countries in the world who have actually gone for 3 or 4 months by now. While there are some kind of some relaxed movement which has started in India and other parts of the world, but I think this will going to be there for at least next 6 months, till the time some vaccine comes in, it gets tested out, side effects kind of taken care of and things like that. So yes, mindset will definitely impact, and that's a good question. uh, Dr. Hari Apnapalli, first of all, wonderful session, and the kind of magnitude which you have shown in terms of digital transformation, how it can be done in the health segment, how it can be done in the education segment, telecom, other travel industry, how it is going to completely change the economics and the way of working in the coming times. So just for the sake of it, for the betterment of extending this, and thanks to you for recognizing Bringle Academy as a premium blended learning platform. And looking forward, we are actually bringing in a lot of programs on blockchain, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality on our blended learning platform, bringleacademy.com. There are many series also we are bringing in, web series which can be taken up across the globe, like our finance minister Nirmala ji has kind of started working with radio channels and TV channels. So there will be a lot of content which will be which will be required by even the providers like Amazon's or Netflix and all that. They're only entertainment channels right now, but I think we should leverage them to bring in more and more educational content. And if we can help them to bring out the real quality good content, that's what is all our intent is. With our earlier 21 days business sustainability challenge, we have actually touched 141 countries with a completely organic reach, and we have got 5,000 plus participants in that series in 21 days itself, and which is ever growing now. We are actually targeting to reach out to 1 billion entrepreneurs in the next coming 3 to 5 years with that series, and helping and bringing in at least 1 million focused entrepreneurs who would be bringing and working towards designing their unicorn. That's our copyrighted framework and patented SaaS-based tool, which is called a design your unicorn. It's actually the entire Chakravyuh or the business model in 7 pillars and 105 modules. So that will be working out, and we are looking at to bring in and contributing to at least 5% of Indian GDP, which Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is kind of dreaming in 2025, which is $5 trillion economy. So it's just a small attempt towards that, but it cannot be done alone. It will require a lot of technology interventions. It will require a lot of people expertise and human machine interfaces and things like that. Just to add few more things, as a founder and managing director for Bringle Excellence UK and India, uh, we had been working not only with the education sector. Bringle Academy is definitely a blended learning and a blended meetups platform for the education sector or for the webinar series. However, we have been working with organizations for the institutes for setting up their virtual reality, virtual labs, either in engineering, normal colleges, the graduate colleges, medical, even in your schools. So we have set up virtual labs for them, integrated, created a blended learning platform which automates their 89% of their manual effort when it comes to online and even in the offline world. So that reduces the administrative efforts for them and the cost eventually as well. So the cost what they have to spend in a physical infrastructure, if let's say 100 rupees in the physical environment, in the online environment with a blended environment, they can actually reduce their cost by more than 80% and increase their the revenues by more than 10% out of it. So I think the 10% efficiencies and things which you're talking 100%, I heard about that you were mentioning about with 5G coming in, how the 100% traffic consumption will increase, 100 times rather, how the 100 times speed will increase, the 10 times speed will increase. So all of those things will start coming in. Uh, at Bringle, we have also worked with some of the government projects in tourism where we have actually recreated the entire old historic structures like Nalanda University and worked as a POC for the government. Completely 3D scanning, complete their structure into that, using the augmented reality to recreate the historic movements of Nalanda University, and then finally use the virtual reality components to show how the studies used to happen over there. And there were like interactive sessions. There are various other things which we have been working in the health sector, like virtual operation theaters, where the medical doctors can be actually trained. So you actually don't need bodies right now to get yourself trained. You don't need your the laboratories for a live rats or guinea pigs to be tested for that. You can actually do that in a virtual environment. You want to do a welding training, you don't need a training to be given in a physical environment. You can actually learn 90% of it virtually, and then you actually go into the physical world by only application of it, just to get a last fine tuning part of it. So it reduces the cost, effort, and it increases the capacity of an individual to reach out to the masses. So these are the other applications which has happened from the virtual reality, artificial intelligence. We at a Bringle had a patented product which basically works out from skills profiling to career counseling and actually tells you exactly, supports you from a job assistance perspective, that which job role is best suited for you and what are the jobs available accordingly. So it reduces the learning curve of an organization, which is required, which is in an organization from 6 months to, less than probably 10 days or something like that. These are the kind of automated platforms that have been built using artificial intelligence or machine learning methodologies, which you have very, very clearly shown into that. So, with this, I just want to ask one question from you. You mentioned one very important point, that robotic surgeries which are happening in the health sector now, uh, that can be used with some bit of a virtual reality component by which we can actually take the scanning of a brain, very, very quickly, immediately, and actually the surgery can be done in a very fast environment. Till now, whenever we have been working with few doctors in terms of setting up their virtual consulting platform, what they've been saying is that the government had not been allowing the virtual online consultation, while there are some platforms which are available, but still they were reluctant to use that and saying that it's a medical profession. How do you see those changes are coming in, and how do you see the merger of the health industry specifically along with the education industry, how they can contribute together in that with an advent of technology?
So with the 5G technology, the speed, the latency, and all those things will make a difference actually. That will enable for a lot of innovation in the healthcare sector. As you rightly mentioned, I have a neighbor who is a robotic surgeon, heart transplant surgeon. So he doesn't touch the patient. He sits in another room, operates through the computer to do the surgery. And that is going to be the reality moving forward. And in order to do that, you need to have a real life training. The real life training is not practical because how many hearts you're going to open and how many people you're going to risk doing this trial and error. So using the virtual reality, this can be clearly simulated and the doctors can be trained to increase their operations with high accuracy as well as low cost. Because getting all these people to trial is not a possibility. So that is one area that you could develop the VR classes for the selective high risk areas in the healthcare side. And again, that is becomes an education sector, but application is towards the healthcare. So that is the thing that you're going to look into. Another area that you can think of is the transportation sector. For example, flight simulation. Training pilots is an expensive process. VR can make a difference. Combination of AR and VR that will give a real feeling of when they are really, if we can superimpose the Bombay International Airport for an international flight landing with a AR technology, and they are really not sitting in the flight, but they are sitting in a simulated VR environment. That can make a difference. And it requires a lot of creativity to come up with this, but the 3D technology, 3D video is already there. And I watched, I was with Dr. Maram in Bangalore in November, one young entrepreneurs came up with this 3D technology. I was very impressed. So you could consider 3D imaging and 3D videoing to do some of these things. Again, the key is here the 5G technology implementation is the bandwidth and also the speed connectivity. There physically, you want to provide this wherever the people are. For example, the pilot or the physician can access this training to wherever they are. They don't need to come to Bangalore or that is the important fact. And when government of India has also came up with the skill development program, there's a ministry. They are investing a significant amount of money in reskilling. They already gave identified about 8 or 9 different areas. NASCOM is closely working with the government in coming up with this, training programs. But with this 5G technology coming into the marketplace, using the AR, VR technology, all those skill development courses can be developed and offered. It's a decent amount of money the government is paying directly to the vendors who are providing these services. Only thing is the government has to do a paradigm shift, reduce the cost using technology versus creating the physical laboratories for this training. that is another area that you can look into. The last one is especially with the fourth industrial revolution, as I mentioned, some of the examples in my presentation, that is going to create a lot of employment opportunities. All those people to be trained in the respective sectors requires a lot of new curriculum being offered. I think Bringle can position that area, especially the 8 areas that I mentioned. An example is smart cities. Today, even India is attempting to create 99 smart cities. The existing staff are not trained or properly educated how a smart city implementation should be. They're still using the conventional methods to uh, make the smart cities, and they're not happening. They're paving their road, and some next day some other water connection guy is coming and digging. That is still happening. So if you could come up with courses in that area, it is a $1.2 trillion industry. Government is struggling to fund those projects, but if the model, those kind of initiatives, there's a lot of retraining, reskilling is required in general across India and rest of the world, especially in the COVID world. Physical distancing is necessary, and people cannot go to places, so people should be working from wherever they are to accomplish the job as much as possible. Some areas it's not possible, but cases with a paradigm shift and see creatively how well the same job can be accomplished from virtual distance.
Sure. So, thanks, Dr. Hari. I think that's a wonderful thing. I just want to ask one more question. If I think we are just coming to the end of the session, but if you can just put a little more highlights on blockchain. A lot of people are talking about blockchain, and there are some limitations of a blockchain, or maybe I would say limitation or understanding gap at this point in time. So how do you see blockchain is going to play an important role in education and health segment?
So if you look at in the late 90s during the Y2K, a lot of technology people are needed in advanced countries, especially in the US. There's so many openings for there, not many people were available. So people got duplicate certificates. For example, universities, they mocked the certificates and applied for H1. They trained themselves. Of course, they did their job, but there's a lot of fraud happened during that time. Not just yeah, but all over. If using blockchain, a tamper-proof certificate can be issued, right? I'm just giving an example of that. And in India, take an example of land records. The same property is registered to more than one person, and not sure when we go to the court who is the legitimate owner, and it is taking several years to prove the legitimate ownership of a given piece of land. Blockchain technology can be used. You could make it a tamper-proof um, land records, and that's already happening in Telangana government, Andhra Pradesh, India. And another example is issuing a birth certificates, death certificates. A lot of people do not have access. When they have access, a lot of fraud is happening. People who are alive, they are marked as dead, and in some cases who are dead, they are still getting pensions and things like that. Using blockchain technology, this kind of things. And governments can take full advantage of preventing fraud from. And as I mentioned before, the digital and cryptocurrency, government of India already opened up to accept cryptocurrency with some regulations will be coming to tighten the fraud in that sector. In the healthcare side, electronic medical records, for example, people can still maintain the privacy and have access to the electronic medical records. Right now, when you go to one physician and the particular physician orders one set of tests, And if you go to the another physician, they are sometimes repeat the same test. And if you can have an electronic medical records for a patient, and wherever you go, just provide access to that record, you don't need to repeat some of this significant amount of savings. At the same time, you are protecting the privacy of the patient's records. These are some of the areas that, especially financial world, blockchain is taking place on the logistics sector. For example, when you ship a product from point A to point B and it goes through several hops, and people can track at every point in time what is happening in a way, whether transaction is moving or not. Another example in the pharma side, through blockchain technology, a lot of fake products, the medications are packed and look and feel the same, but it is not a genuine product coming either from Pfizer or Ready Labs or Merck. So this tamper-proof technology, blockchain can enable them. One of my MIT classmates from Bangalore actually implemented a solution to track the products appropriately to eliminate fraud in that sector. These are some of the areas that blockchain technology can make a significant difference. And more importantly, it is going to simplify the transactions. It's going to reduce the fraud. It's going to release the capital. For example, when I wire transfer from US to India in the past, it used to take about 4 or 5 days by the time the other side realizes the money. Sometimes even 10 days. But today with the blockchain technology, it will be an instant realization of the transaction. We are eliminating a lot of middlemen, a lot of overheads. The cost of transaction is going to go down, speed is going to increase, fraud is going to be less, and increase the trust between the two parties. These are some of the things that I mentioned before. We're going to revolutionize the way we live today in the transaction world. Since we are connected internet and to the world, and the technology is enabling us to transact without physical interaction. Blockchain is the way.
Okay, thank you so much. With this, I would like to request Dr. Hari Krishna Maram. Dr. Maram, if you have, how would you want to share that? What is that you are trying to do in Vision Digital India? And if you have any questions for Dr. Hari Apnapalli.
First of all, thanks to accepting our invitation to be part of some of us educators like us got a very good benefit what exactly happening on digital economy. And in fact, Dr. Hari, we know from a couple of years, and I visited him in US. Sometimes also we had an opportunity to organize a couple of conferences across the globe, and he is one of the leader in the field of technology as well as education, and also he initiated a lot of things in the area of CSR activities associating with our honorable former president Sri Abdul Kalam ji as one of the lead initiative. In fact, today Dr. Hari is well known in US in industry as well as academic community. He himself is studied from MIT and New York Institute of Technology, living from long years there, and he is actively associated with Indian community. So looking at all these things, I would like to ask you, sir, how this COVID-19 is going to affect US economy as well as the job opportunities specifically to our Indians.
So globally, it is projected, as I mentioned, close to $80+ trillion impact because of the COVID. Especially in the US, about 40% of the people already filed for unemployment. It's a very significant number. Historically, also, it's a record number of people applied for unemployment. But this gives an opportunity for people of Indian origin because they are technology focused. A lot of technology is going to play a major role in transforming the way we conduct in the COVID world. It will open up a lot more opportunities to reinvent processes, do a lot of re-engineering of the business processes, will come up with new projects, new innovations using technology. So temporarily there may be an impact because currently we are going through the COVID, but the moment the markets open up, new projects will evolve from because of the paradigm shift to handle uh, COVID kind of situations today and moving forward. People opened up that COVID is not the end, not COVID, some other virus will haunt us. So with this, I think because of our Indian technology background, a lot more opportunities, especially whether they are in US or India. So since we are virtually connected, more innovation will take place, more opportunities will come to the people of Indian origin because of the technology. I don't see too much of a worry, but it's a temporary situation right now. Don't be panic. Be open and open to learn new ways of doing this. And think of reskilling yourself. Don't get stagnant in one sector. This is what I would like to advise the people of Indian origin to look into, be positive about it, open to learn new ways, and enroll yourself into building kind of class, academy classes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I think with this, we are coming at the end of a beautiful session and a wonderful session by Dr. Hari Apnapalli. And thanks, sir, thanks, Dr. Hari Maram, for inviting Dr. Hari Apnapalli as well. Because I think he has opened up a lot of opportunities. So I always say this: blessings in disguise. So while there is a problem with respect to, like he mentioned, 40% of the job losses which are happening today. But with this new advent of technology, if people can focus on reskilling and keep them updated, I think the time is very near that they can actually go up the learning curve and do some remarkable things in the industry. In fact, while the $80 trillion loss is coming, we can probably overcome in the next 3 to 5 years, maybe 10 times of that, with the kind of technology interventions which we can bring in. But we will have to, work together. We'll have to stay strong and don't lose hope. And I always, we'll have to keep ourselves reskilled and motivated and things. And Sonali asked a wonderful question about mindset. So I think that's very much important. So everything starts from the mindset. For the viewers here, I think today's session, we have made it live for people to know what kind of great experts we have. These are the kind of their years of research and the efforts which these experts have put in. Especially Dr. Hari Apnapalli has been working in US for a very long time, and how he has kind of transformed and built up to this level of presentation. It's a commendable work. So we will be going offline now from this now. Next week onwards, there will be participation you will have to do. Till today, it was free joining for everybody. The worth of INR 6,999 and $99. It's a very small cost which we have kept in just to keep the the cost covered up, because we are going to have our first digital blended convocation day on 15th August 2020. So next series onward, next week onwards, we will be going in completely on the offline mode. So please join in at the workshop link, bringalacademy.com/workshop/148. You can also join the global community free of cost, complimentary for us, for you at bringalacademy.com/course/virtual reality. Do join in there and keep your, keep spreading the Bringal dream wave. Ask more and more people to see this virtual world coming alive and how they can get benefited from this. If you want to get a diploma, if you are a educationist, if you are a student, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a youth who is looking for a new advent of technologies, this diploma is for you. So please do come and join in, and you will be able to understand lot many things about digital transformation, how the virtual world is going to become a new reality. And that's what it's the series about, making the virtual world alive. With this, I would like to thank all the eminent guest speakers, especially Dr. Hari Apnapalli. I would like to thank Dr. Hari Krishna Maram, who is chairman of Vision Digital India, and he's been with him we are launching the Digital Future magazine, wherein we are going to talk about top digital heroes of the world, the 8 digital heroes, including our very honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. So please keep tuned. Please keep yourself registered on these community links and workshop link. We'll be coming back soon, very much onto that, and look forward into a digital future with everybody. Thank you so much, and I would say keep bringing, keep growing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful.